players, that were bought that went straight into the first team. The other 14 plus Werner didn't go in. So why are we buying all these players who are not going into the first 11?
Well, like Archie Gray for 40
this
million.
is the problem.
Don't start him off.
What the fuck? He likes that one, though. He likes that one still. So my counter argument to Lubo, whenever he says this...
Hang on, Tottenham tier, comment, 919. Years of mismanagement and falling behind on signing players has left us with not just a weak bench, but a weaker first 11 I've ever seen at this club. That's the position the board has left us in. So when we talk about...
And yet you praise nearly all the players they bought in.
No, I don't praise. No,
yes,
I think they've got potential. Listen, there's one thing, Sav, saying I think we've bought some good kids who are going to be great for the club going forward. There's another thing about saying we aren't buying the right players. And I've said continually, we didn't replace all the Højbjergs and the Celso and Emerson and Skip. We didn't replace them with established players. We just brought in a Solanke, and that was it. That was it.
Sure,
so,
we spent 100 million.
Ange was given an awful lot of money that he either wasted or he was limited by the wages that were given out. Now, Frank has come in.
As Danny and I have ripped your argument apart on this so many times, it's unreal. Right?
Now they're buying players with proper wages, Sav.
Hang on, no.
No, they're not.
Hang on. Proper wages, right? If you look across all of the clubs across Europe, what they're paying wages, right? And the players that have moved to those clubs, right? There are class acts moving across all of Europe every year that get paid less than Gray, less than Solanke, less than Richarlison. This whole wages thing you've always brought up. But Danny and I sat here, he'll agree with me. We sat here last summer and went, look at all these players moving to Juventus, Milan, Roma, Sassuolo, whoever, Fiorentina, all on lesser wages. Right? Hang on, Lubo. The wages you use, you are almost comparing the wages of the big players that Arsenal, City and Chelsea buy. There are very good players who are on nowhere near those wages that Spurs could have gone and spent that 380 million on and got better. So the wages argument doesn't add up. How does it?
But it's part wages and part recruitment. And Lang has a part.
But it's not part wages. It's not part wages.
It is. How much do you know? Do you know how much they're paying Xavi Simmons?
Xavi Simmons is getting 200 grand a week.
Exactly. So
yeah,
if you've got to pay for it.
Let me finish. How much are they paying Archie Gray a week?
75.
Right. How much?
They're paying him more than Van de Ven.
How much did Manu Kone, how much did he go for? How much did Fofana go for? How much did the other one I'm missing? Kefram Thuram. These players all went for less than 75 grand a week. Now, that's free off the top of my head. If I went and looked at all these players moving across the world, Lubo, we could find hundreds that are nowhere near the levels of what we've paid Solanke, Archie Gray, James Maddison, who's on 165 grand a week, Romero, who's on 100. This wage number that you use, this is not true. It is recruitment. The best players get paid 200 grand a week. The best. There's not many that are on that level, but you use the wage argument because you hate Levy so much.
There are plenty that are on that level.
No, but the players you've mentioned, if they come to Tottenham,
there will be plenty.
Can I ask you a question?
We've got 2 out of, 30 maybe? Do you reckon there's 20 or 30 players in the Premier League that are on 200 grand plus?
Sure, and they're all the best players, right? That go to the best clubs, right?
But we're talking
here's a question for you. Now, let me ask this. Name me one player who's on over 200 grand a week and doesn't play for one of the big boys. Go. Before anyone else jumps in, let's let Lubo do this because this is the point. Okay. We are not one of the big boys. So name me somebody and we pay.
This is where I disagree.
No, hang on. No, answer the question.
We are a big club.
Lubo, stick to one point for the moment. We are not one of the big boys. We are a big enough club, but we are not one of the big boys, Lubo. This whole nonsense that we were before Levy took over, no, we weren't. We weren't winning league titles. We weren't in...
Get it? Oh, do me a favour, Sam. You don't understand our history if you say that.
Okay, Lubo, how many league titles we won? See, this is where you get angry. How many league titles we won?
Nothing to do with it, because...
No,
that's exactly what he just said. He just said that.
Let me finish. No. Lubo, so league titles aren't a barometer of how big a football club you are.
One of the barometers.
Sure. Okay. How many Champions Leagues have we won?
First team to win the double.
No, Lubo. You've got this habit of not answering my question.
I'm answering you.
You're not answering me. This is a really simple question. How many league titles have we won?
No, we've won 2.
Yes. How many Champions Leagues have we won?
We haven't yet.
Right.
More of Arsenal. So that
sure.
Okay. So what about Villa and Forest?
Hang on, James. No, hang on. I want to clip this afterwards. Let me go, right? Lubo, Arsenal haven't won a Champions League, which is why I don't put Arsenal in the elite level with the other clubs. But Arsenal,
City, Chelsea, and everyone else.
How many league titles? How many league titles do Arsenal have? Right. So yes, we are a big club, Lubo. But you talk about us as though before Daniel Levy took over, you make it sound like in the 70s, 80s, and 90s that we were winning league titles when in theory we weren't.
I never said that.
But you said we're as big as those other clubs, and we're not.
No,
we're not.
Chelsea and Manchester City's new money.
But for whatever reason, they've made themselves massive clubs, haven't they?
Wait a minute. Does history not mean anything? When you
build not in 2025, we're talking about winning a league in 1961. No.
When you're talking about building clubs. Mm-hmm. Liverpool were built from Shankly onwards. That whole thing with the boom.
It's 2025. It's 2025, Lubo. Right, it's not. We won the league. So when did we last win the league title?
61.
61.
Never said
Lubo. Spurs haven't won the league title for 64 years.
Savva, let me put this a different way. Let me put this a different way.
You can talk about history all you want, Lubo, but this problem, this is what you do. As I said to you, name me a player who's on 200 grand plus a week that isn't playing for one of the big clubs, and then I will take your argument seriously.
No, I can't answer that because I don't know what they're all on.
With this one on the big club bit, yeah, we have never, ever, bar maybe 80 years ago, been what I would call an elite club. Let's put it that way. Okay, we've been a bit of a big club because as all we was ever known as was a cup club. And that was a cup every, 10 years? Something like that. If you actually go on the history books and you want to go that far back, Ian, then Tottenham are quite a small club. Aston Villa are bigger than us.
Dang.
Forest have won the Championship. Hang on, let me finish mine and I'll just shut up for you for yours. Forest have won the Champions League back to back. Celtic have bloody won it. Aston Villa have won it. But these days, when it comes to things like that, what happened 80 years ago, even 20 years ago, it's irrelevant. It's nothing. You can put it on your... You can... No, hang on, let me finish.
It is, Lubo. You're so stuck.
Let me finish. Let me finish. When you go and put it on your wall, yes, we've won this, we've won that, we've won that. Excellent. It's good, but it's irrelevant. You can't change the past. What's happened in the past is either good or bad, whatever. You can't change it. But it's here, now, and the future. We are not a big club in an elite club. We're a big club in the size of what we're worth on our bloody shares and everything, yeah? We're a big club on the money we bring in. The only reason we are in the top 10 biggest clubs on this planet is purely because of money. And that's because of Daniel Levy, what he's done. Nothing else. We have never, ever, ever been at the stage where you could class us as an elite club on the same level as what Chelsea are now, City are now, Man U have ever been, Arsenal have ever been, AC Milan, Inter Milan, Juventus, Bayern Munich, PSG now. Do you want me to go to Real Madrid, Barcelona? We have never, ever been an elite club. As all we have ever been is that little club in the background that wins a cup here and there, but then becomes a big club because we got the money. We got the money behind it. The only reason we got even offered into that Super League, it isn't because Tottenham Hotspur are a bloody elite club. We got offered in there because we got bloody money in the bank. Nothing more, nothing less. We are a big club, but I think you get it mixed up with an elite club. And basically, what happened 20, 30, 40 years ago, I'm just using different phrase, yeah? Where people use big, I look on big club and then elite club, yeah? Just using it different. I don't really care what happened 20, 30 years ago. All great, all good. I care about now and the future. So, at the moment, we ain't in there with the big boys. If anything, you want to say top 6 clubs, there's a top 5 clubs and we just dangle off the bottle of them with a couple of other clubs.
Dan,
we're a big club, Dan. We are not elite.
Hold on 1 second. I don't think anyone here said we're elite, even Lubo, right? No one says we're elite. We've never been.
Hang on,
I was just using different. I was just explaining it different still. That's all.
Sorry, hang on. I brought up the data. Hang on. Before Still goes, I brought up the data to prove my point, Lubo. Right? Let's have a look. You tell me when you see a player in this list that doesn't play for one of the elite clubs in England. This is everybody's wages by player, not by club, by player, right, in the Premier League. Tell me when we get to a player that's on over 200 grand a week that does not play for one of the biggest clubs in the country, right? You tell me, look, Haaland, Salah, Van Dijk, Casemiro, Sterling, Silva, Fernandes, Marmoush, Havertz, Jesus, Sancho, James, Stones, Rice, Odegaard, Gundogan, Reinders, Foden, Grealish, Rodri, Vardial, Ekitike, Gyökeres, Fofana, Diaz. Do we all agree that every single one of them plays for one of the big 5 clubs?
Apart from Grealish.
I mean, Jack Grealish is owned by Man City, so please don't do that, right?
Casemiro?
We agree.
Yeah. The other 5, right? Correct.
Everyone agree. Right, okay. Let's go down then. Here we go. Now you go down to the 195 grand a weekers. There is no one at any club. The next club that comes in is Tottenham Hotspur with 2, with Simmons and Romero. But now look, and Nkunku, Wirtz, Saka, Maguire. Let me know when you see a player from Cunha, Man United, Fernandes, Chelsea, Martinelli, Akanji, Walker. Tell me when you see a player that isn't at one of the big 5, 6 clubs. Tell me. Bruno,
there you go. Lucas Paqueta. There you go. There's the first one.
There you go.
Lucas
160 grand a week at Newcastle. So when you keep saying this about the wages and about there is no club other than the big clubs that have footballers on over 200 grand a week. And we've now entered that, I believe, with Xavi Simmons.
And right? Romero's 205 now with his pay rise, yeah.
So there you go. So when you're saying we can't compete with wages, we can compete with wages with other clubs.
We can compete with wages. They choose not to spend the money.
No, you've missed my point completely. You've missed my point completely.
My point, Sav, is that we should be buying these top players that command top wages because we're a big club and we can afford it.
We're not the big club you think we are, though. This is the problem.
That's why I try and use elite and big. That's why I try and use the gap there. Like when people say, and I have this debate with a few people, with world class and very good. That it's just the way I do things, basically. I think the phrase world class gets used too easy. Big club, we ain't no elite club. Chelsea, like it or lump it, they're an elite club. So are City. Man U, hanging on by the skin of their teeth, but they are still probably the biggest club on the planet, maybe second biggest club to Real Madrid. And then go and put Arsenal, whether you like it or not. They are pretty much an elite club.
Dan,
but you just can't.
Can I say, guys, I get what I get what Lubo's saying, but I think he's not delivered it in the best way. No disrespect, Lubo. This is what I think, because I do agree with you, but the way you're wording it, I get why people are going to say no. We're not elite, right? We know we're not Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Liverpool. No. We're not. But the category below, the Borussia Dortmunds, the Tottenhams, the Aston Villas, that kind of that level of football club. I think Spurs are big in that category. I do.
Yes, we are a big club.
Right. You don't have 62,000 seater stadium. You don't go to Wembley and have the record Premier League attendance, almost 90,000. You're not the club, and our history does matter because our history is what attracts fans to make you big, right? So we are a big club, but we don't sit at that top table. We know that.
That's my
The
point.
thing is, right?
Lubo thinks we do.
Right.
No,
This is one minute. Hold on.
Before Levy took over, we used to.
We didn't used to before Levy took over.
Guys,
Lubo.
1 minute. Let me land my point.
We didn't.
Right?
This is lies.
Guys, 1 second.
Don't call me a liar, Sav.
1 minute.
I said it's a lie.
What you can use on me is a liar. You're
arguing, and I haven't made my point.
What you just said, Lubo, was a lie.
We were the big five that took in '92 that did the Sky deal. There was a big.
Let's have a look at Spurs league finishes for the 20 years.
Guys, can I just make my point?
To see how big a club we were.
Everybody knew. Everybody knew.
Lubo, Savva, 1 minute.
But you don't like facts, Lubo. You're so. 1 second still. You're so. You're so in your feelings with Tottenham Hotspur that you hate the facts, right?
No, I love you.
The facts.
I love you.
12 trophies in 30 years. 12 trophies in 30 years.
Right.
Lubo, can I make my point because it'll back you up a bit, right? Just bite your tongue, right? Since 1900, Spurs have averaged a trophy every 5 years, right? That's not bad. It's not amazing, but it's not bad.
Sure.
No.
What I think for the size of club we are, the money we generate, the size of that stadium, I think we all agree here, we should be having a lot more players of a better level. Maybe not at the 200,000, but that kind of 180, 190 bracket. It shouldn't just be fucking Romero and Simmons there. We should be getting more of that caliber that will come to us, but we don't pay the wages to get enough of them ones. I don't expect us to get the 200,000 plus players, not yet. But I do expect us to be attracting more of that 170, 180, 190 player. We don't know. We end up with the
like Aston Villa do basically still.
Yes.
That is where we are basically.
Spurs
I agree with what you've just
pushing
said.
the boat out more than what they do. That's where I agree with Lubo, but I don't think we can compete with the 250,000 a week and all that.
Still, I don't disagree with the way you've put it, but the problem is Lubo talks like we are Man United. The way he talks, look at this, right? Listen, Lubo. Lubo, everyone's just sat there and seen you go. We are massive. We are a massive football club before Enoch took over. All right, here's the facts. Right? Before Enoch took over.
You don't get it. You don't get it. You were born in the 80s. You don't get it, Sav. You just don't get it.
I don't get it.
You just don't get it. If you'd have seen and lived through the Spurs of the 20, 30 years before you started watching them, you'd understand what I'm saying. Not your fault. I'm older than you. You've got a longer life to come than me. Good for you.
Excuse me. You're using the 50s and 60s to put my facts down.
70s, 80s.
So sorry, you said 20, 30 years.
People used to stand outside and queue for a ticket from 2 a.m.
You said 20, 30 years before I was born. 20, 30 years before I was born was the 50s and 60s. Which one is it?
Before you started watching
Spurs. To be fair, if you take the 1930s away, Arsenal lose about 12 trophies, I think.
Sure, right. So, Lubo, this is the problem. Nearly every argument you have is what was happening in the 60s and 70s. I get it. So when you tell people, I love it when you tell people this, you don't understand. Lubo, the fact...
You haven't seen it.
Oh my God, let me finish a sentence. Lubo, the point is what you saw was 60 years ago.
It wasn't, Stel. It wasn't.
My name's Savva. What you saw...
30 plus years ago.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. 30 years ago, Lubo, I don't know how old you think I am. I know I look good for my age. 30 years ago, I was a Spurs season ticket holder. So when you're going, you didn't see it. Yes, I did. You're not the only person to support Spurs, right? The problem is, Lubo, your facts and your memories don't align. Memories and facts aren't the same thing. Here is what you told me. We were one of the biggest clubs in England before Levy took over, right?
That's right.
Levy took over in 01, yeah?
Yeah. Here you go. Stats. Right. It's all you know.
Hang on. But you're saying, no. Lubo, let me finish. Lubo, when you're saying stats, this isn't a stat. This is a fact. Lubo, So you're saying before Renick took over, Spurs were one of the biggest clubs in the country as we finished 12th, 10th, 11th, 14th, 10th, 8th, 7th, 15th, 8th. Let's scroll up a bit. Go over
the rest. Go over the rest.
Right. I am.
Let's look at the trophies. Have a look at the trophies.
Let me stop interrupting me. Right? Now let's look at the rest.
You do this, but you don't show the whole story.
I am getting to it. If you stop interrupting me, I will get to it, Lubo. Right? You said we're one of the biggest clubs in the country before Enoch rocked up. I'm showing you every league position for the 25, 30 years before they joined. Other than 3/3, everything is 10th, 11th, 7th, 8th. Right? Now, if you look at the column for some trophies, yeah, we won a few trophies. But that doesn't make us one of the biggest clubs in the country.
We have a massive fan base. I'm sorry,
right.
It's a big club. It's a big
Nowhere
club.
near the level of these other clubs, and that's my point. It's all on emotion.
Chelsea have won a handful of trophies.
Lubo.
No, but that's why I put it on and describe it a bit different, as in elite and big. And with what you did say, Ian, I can't agree with that bit of, oh, you wasn't there, so you don't know about it. Well, basically, but hang on, Lubo, let me say this bit, yeah. Okay, right. And then I bet you I've seen things in life that you know about as well. Or there's been things that happened 70, 80 years ago that none of us would hear, but people preach about non-stop, but you ain't got a bloody clue about it, nor have any of us got a bloody clue about it because we didn't go there, except we've got all the books about it and all history and everything else. So if you don't see it, you haven't got a clue about it.
No. If you've lived,
that's what you basically said.
That is exactly what we said.
If you've lived it, it's you understand it more than if you're learning it through history.
Understand what?
Now I get there's certain things in life that you have to. There's certain things. There's certain things in life, Ian, you need to go through, yeah, to actually understand it instead of get it. Now I'm with you on that one, yeah. But just because you've seen some football games in the 60s, 70s, whatever, and that, doesn't mean I don't get what happened in that when I've seen it play as well, even though it's been on TV, or know my history as well. Do you know what? You could have been to all those games and I might be able to sit here with a book and totally outscrew you on the history, even though I haven't seen it. That's not a fair comment, what you've said there, that you have to. Now, some things in life, I totally get that you have to basically live it to understand it. And there's other things that you can get it. You haven't necessarily got to do it. But with the comment you made there, that people, because you've seen it and others haven't, you understand it more. I don't think that's quite fair on the football side. I don't think that's quite fair.
Or Aston Villa bigger than us?
Are Nottingham Forest a big club? Are Nottingham Forest a big club?
Hang on. Are Aston Villa a bigger football club than Tottenham Hotspur?
No,
I don't think they are.
Okay, what? Okay, I'll get in there. Why?
Because when the Premier League began, Everton, Villa and Spurs were roughly the same level. But since then, Spurs have gone on to win 3 or 4 trophies. Villa haven't won anything, and nor have Forest.
Perfect. So let's use your analogy. Let's use your analogy then to Lubo saying we're a big club. When the Premier League started, Spurs, Chelsea, City, Arsenal, all these look at those clubs now compared to us. So if your theory is right still, which I agree with,
City and Chelsea are the anomaly, aren't they? Though they had a massive cash injection that no one can.
Yeah, they did.
Sure. But that's irrelevant. Surely that's irrelevant. Because you're either a big club or you're not. Regardless of how you get there, you are or you're not. You can't pick and choose. You can't pick and choose.
Lubo, can I ask a question?
You're right, James. You're right. But they've got fuck all history until that point.
So Aston Villa have won a Champions League.
Listen, we're all fans here, and there's certain things that we kind of. But for me, like there's obviously the common denominator. We all hate Arsenal, and the one thing that I say to my Arsenal friends is they always say they're bigger than us. I say, yeah, you're bigger in England, we're bigger in Europe. It's a tongue-in-cheek thing, and they'll go, yeah, but what about the Premier? They'll go, yeah, but they'll go, what about Premier League era? So, well, hold on, you what you're doing is you're picking Lubo is picking a 5 to 10 year frame of a period of an existence of 100+ years. No, you can't pick and choose the sections, because what we could say is...
I personally look at all trophies, personally. That's my way of doing it. I look at
but that's quite dangerous, though. That's quite dangerous, because what Lubo said there about being a big club, you would have said last season, where we finished 17th, and he was screaming for the guy to be fired. He gave us more success in that season than we've had in the last 40-odd years. I know, not you, Phil. So I know you're not. But Lubo is preaching to the choir there, was in slamming our worst ever season and the worst ever manager and blah 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 blah. But they gave us our best ever memory in 40 years. So because
they didn't see sustainability with that. That's what it was. They didn't see sustainability with it.
Still, can I ask you a question? Still, can I ask you a question? Just looking at Aston Villa, by the way. But and I'm not saying they're bigger, but I'm just trying to go by Lubo's rules of how you rank a football club. Aston Villa have won 7 league titles to our 2, right? They've won 1 European Champions League to our 0, and they've won 12 domestic cups, the same as us. Why are we bigger than Aston Villa according to Lubo's rule?
How many European trophies have they won, like Europa Cup, Cup Winners' Cup?
Right, so but this is what I mean. So we can dice this up whichever way we want, right? I'll bring it up. Here you go. And I'm only going to go for another 5 minutes.
That's a very bit of fact. Right? That's a bit. Let me just answer that one bit.
Hang on. I want us to land on a point. Look at this, right? So if you actually look, Tottenham have 2 more trophies than Villa, and the only reason we've got more trophies than Villa is because we've won more Super Cups. Now the Super Cups, if I'm not wrong, are things like charity shields. If I'm not wrong, right? So like if you look at that,
PSG.
Right. So if you look at this, right, Villa have won more leagues, more Champions Leagues, the same number of domestic cups. So if an Aston Villa fan was to come on right now and argue that they're a bigger club than Tottenham, how could we really say they're not? Now,
if you go by history,
do you just use? Thank you, Dan. Do you go by history? Are we going by Premier League era? This is the problem with Lubo's theory of history. Is that Aston Villa are nowhere near that club that win league titles and Champions Leagues anymore. But
to me, it's here and now, Savva.
Hold on.
That's my point, Dan.
I'm agreeing with you.
Can you scroll down? Because where it says Super Cups, it says D and E. Can you scroll down and tell what D and E stands for?
Super Cups, D and E.
If you look at Tottenham Hotspur, the trophy row, if you go across to Super Cups, there's a small D next to the 9. What does that D stand? Okay, Tottenham have won additional okay, so it's charity shields. Okay,
right, there you go.
People grill Arsenal for the charity shield for adding it onto it. For me, when it comes to it,
guys,
no. Aston Villa are more successful than us in proper trophies.
We are now a bigger club because at the end of the day, it matters about now. It matters about money.
You make a fair point. If it's on trophies, listen, I did say Villa, Everton, Tottenham were roughly the same before the Premier League.
Yeah, I agree.
If Villa have won more trophies than Spurs, then yes, I would say they're bigger than Tottenham. However, if we're gonna, because everyone's got a different metric, mine's just trophies. If you're gonna factor in fan base size, stadium size, and all these other factors,
then we are bigger.
Then we are bigger. So it depends how you. I guess each fan's got their own version.
That was my point before Lubo started losing his mind about things that happened in the 60s and 70s. This is my point. We can all sit back and look at history, but right now, let's be fair. If my man Wolfie jumped on stream, and it's not going to happen because I'm literally ending the show in a few minutes because I'm going to the airport in about 5.5 hours. If Wolfie jumped on stream now, there's 1,300 people watching this show at the moment. By the way, you are absolute frauds, you lot. There are 415 likes and 1,300 people. If Wolfie jumped on stream now still and sat here and went chest out, Nottingham Forest are a bigger club than Tottenham Hotspur, every single one of those 1,300 people and everyone on this panel would say what?
How many trophies have you won?
We'd all sit there and go, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. But what he would do is what Lubo just did. He'd go, look at those 2 stars. Look at those 2 stars when we won 2 Champions Leagues. Or, you know what I mean? And this is the danger with, if you keep going back to the 60s, the 70s, the 80s.
Which are irrelevant now.
We could argue that you could take that all the way back.
Not relevant.
No.
You could take that all the way back to different decades where I'm sure Preston North End were the biggest team in the country.
How many trophies have Spurs won, out of curiosity?
You could argue though, if we're all basing everything on what we're saying, and trophies is the be all and end all, we could all say, well, Leicester are a bigger club than Tottenham in Premier League history.
Sure. So this is why I think
that's why for me, James, is irrelevant. History is irrelevant.
It's not relevant for me.
Let me finish
for me, a big club.
It's all getting the point over. You go by your history, that's all good. But at the end of the day, history's all good. But here and now, and what happens in the future, what happened 10 years ago is irrelevant. It has got nothing to do with it whatsoever. No player is going to come to Spurs because we won the bloody title in 1960. No player is going to come to Spurs because we won the cup 5-10 years ago. In 3 years, 4 years' time, no player is going to come to Spurs because we won the bloody Europa Cup. So when it comes to it, history is a very big thing in life and everything, But when it comes to here and now and what happens in the next 3 or 4 years, the past 50 years of history is irrelevant. It has nothing to do with the future.
You can't.
I think you're missing what I'm saying.
No.
Okay.
You're not listening to what he's saying. He's not dismissing it, but he's saying if Spurs rock up to a player, right? If Spurs and Man City both went in for a player right now, right? No player is going to turn around and go, God, actually, if you look at Spurs' history, it's better than Man City's. They're going to go.
Well, they go to Man United because of their history, and they're in the mud. They're shit. They go there because of their history.
Hang on. But the difference is, Man U in recent history, whatever we think about them, have still got titles, Champions Leagues, FA Cups, League Cups.
Yeah, in recent history,
under their belt in recent history. No one is going to. No, let's say if Spurs rock up right now. And Man City rock up right now. Let me just pluck a player out of the air. Kerem Adeyemi, someone that James wanted. If Spurs and City rocked up right now for Adeyemi, you think that Adeyemi and his agent are going to look back to what happened in Spurs' history to say, I know Man City have won Champions Leagues and trebles and they've got Pep Guardiola and Erling Haaland and I don't want to go there though, because in the 1970s, Spurs won the UEFA. It's not going to happen.
Okay, so but then what you just said there backs up what Lubo said, because if you think about it, on average, Spurs won a trophy every 5 years. So there was some pull. For whatever reason, during Enoch and Levy's tenure, that's been decimated. So in recent history, which is this ownership, they've decimated any pull factor of us being successful.
That point still. I agree with that point. I'm not arguing that.
The point I'm making still is the fact of that, okay, if we want to say that history's got something to do with it, then let's bring it back 3 years. Yeah? Right. So in a year's time, we can, here and now, we can go on a bit of history of last year that we won the Europa Cup and we got in the Champions League.
Going to Villa, man. Do you know that?
Whatever happens, my point is, history is all relevant on history, and it's all good and lovely and everything else. But what happened 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, you want me to go on, is irrelevant. No one is going to come to Spurs because of what we've done then. Now,
and when you say irrelevant, do you mean irrelevant?
It's not irrelevant.
Players?
Irrelevant to what happens in the future. Irrelevant to what happens now. Irrelevant to what getting players. Because everything is about
to attracting players. I agree. What we did in the 70s means nothing to attracting.
That's what I'm saying. It's irrelevant. It is irrelevant to what happens now in football and what happens in the next year or two of football. What happened 50 years ago is irrelevant. What has it got to do?
Can I add my bit then? I know you want to wrap up. I just want to add my one bit before we wrap up.
Really need to wrap up.
For me, a big club is success, so trophies, medals, whatever. Fan base. It does come down to stadiums. It does come down to profitability. It comes down to everything. It's not one or the other. Without that success, the fan base wouldn't have grown back then. And then, obviously, unfortunately, Lubo's not going to want to hear this. Without Levy coming in and turning us from what we did to now, we could potentially be a financial juggernaut. And Levy has a lot of good in that. So Levy could have took us from a mid-table club to potentially one sale away or an investment away from being an elite club in the UK or whatever. So you can't say that it was all irrelevant, because those trophies and winning.
You missed my point on irrelevance.
I'm not. I'm trying to get to our point now. I'm trying to kind of add it all into one. You saying like those trophies back then won't make a difference to now because of like signing players. But if we didn't win those trophies back then, we wouldn't have had some of the players.
Right.
Like
what happens tomorrow, James? It's got no effect what happened 10, 20